How about another round of applause for Natya students out there, everybody? Speaking of the evening. And before I bring up your next performer, I also want to let you know we have hennas being drawn. There's henna stations and henna counters. So if you want to get some nice, colorful Indian tattoos on your hands, legs, faces, wherever else you like, ladies, go for it. All right. With that said, our next presentation comes from Yesh Rakud, which is an Israeli folk dancing class taught on Tuesday nights, beginning at 7 p.m. at the JCAA. Teresa Pomeranz and Melinda Torrance have been teaching Israeli folk dancing at the J for the last 5 years. The Israeli folk dance originated after Israel became a state as a way of bringing the community together. While most people have heard of the Hora or the Hava Nagila, Israeli folk dance has developed into so much more, with more dances being created every year. The form of Israeli dance is usually done in a circle. However, there is also line dances and couple dances. Teresa and Melinda would like to invite you to join their class on Tuesday at 7 at the JCAA. Here they are right now. Please put your hands together. Welcome Yesh Rakud, everybody.
שניף על הנעליים שלו בשום מקום, והקפאין של אתמול בלילה מתחבר לי עם היום. בקצב הפטיש הריח לא ברור, אני אצא לרחוב שיעיר את פניי. לאן אתה הולך? שואלת אותי הרוח בכיוון מחשבותיי.
about that, everybody. One more time, make it louder for Yesh Mathoon. All right. And now we have a little unplanned surprise thing that we are going to do, for which I want to invite Dinesh Vakharia. Is Dinesh in the house? Dinesh is here, along with Harish Kotecha back on stage. Come on up, Harish. And look at Harish's face now. He has no idea what's happening. Like, this is my event. What's happening? Without my consent. But we have Dinesh and Harish. Round of applause for Dinesh and Harish, everybody. Dinesh and Harish.
Friends, this is really a surprise. Friday, I received a letter with an envelope, White House on top, and it is from my old friend, about my new friend or my old friend also. We received, Harish Kotecha was awarded Presidential Voluntary Service Award is presented to Harish Kotecha by the Corporation of Community Services in recognition and appreciation for his commitment to strengthen our nation and the community through volunteer service. Please give big hands to Harish. But it also says PS, because of the funding restriction at White House, the White House cannot donate any money to this service organization. Therefore, I request the people collected at JCC to donate on behalf of White House, Michelle and me. And from our Austin community, we are presenting an award to Harish Kotecha. Harish Kotecha is hereby recognized in appreciation for his tireless efforts to serve the greater Austin community, May 31st, 2015. Hindu Charities for America and Shalom Austin.
Thank you. This is going to get into my head, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Harish. Everybody, Harish Kotecha with a standing ovation and a award from the White House. With that said, we are going to continue with our entertainment segment of the evening. Monsoon Superstars from the Monsoon Dance Company will be presenting a folk dance from the northwest parts of India. This upbeat, high-energy style of folk dance is typically performed by Khoi village women during festivals with graceful, expressive movements. The song is originally sung by Ila Arun, and the choreography is by the monsoon dance instructor Shruti Anand. Ladies and gentlemen, Monsoon Superstars.
बिछुआ छम छम बोले मेरी लाल चुनरिया सर से सरकती जाए दिलदार मेरे मस्त चमेली की एक डाल बनके झूम रही दरवाजे पे ओ रेशम का रुमाल बड़ा डाल के तू आ जाना दिलदार मेरे मस्त मैं दिल्ली का सुरमा लगा के अरे कब से खड़ी हूँ दरवाजे का 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 दरवाजे का दरवाजे का
Monsoon Superstars, everybody. One more time for Monsoon Superstars. Alright. Now, let's make sure the sound system is okay again. No whistling, no feedback. I'm okay going up here. This is good. Hey guys, how about another big round of applause for Hemant, who's all in the back handling all the sound arrangements. Right? We never see people behind the stage. They are the ones who make this possible, and then guys like me show up and take away all the limelight. So, right. Let me tell you a little bit about me because I've been popping in and out, and some of you are wondering who am I. My name is Samson, and not too long ago, I auditioned for America's Got Talent. I didn't make it, it's okay, don't get that impressed. I just auditioned, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. But I learned something, which is when you audition for TV shows, there is a lot of paperwork. And one question on one of the forms was, what has been your biggest struggle in life? But I'm thinking, what has my struggles got to do with my comedy? But I do understand it's a TV show, so they want to play up the emotion factor and be like, oh, look at this poor kid from the third world on American television now. Vote for him, watch our show, we'll bring you more weirdos, right? I get that part. But when I looked at the question, what has been my biggest struggle in life, I wanted to put none. None. When I look at all the struggles that my parents have been through, both my parents, born and raised in the third world, spent their entire life in the third world, raised a family of 4, living in a 360 square feet apartment. My mom worked 2 jobs, my dad worked 2 jobs and put me through college. And then I came to America, where my biggest struggle is that I get depressed every time I post what I think is clever on Facebook and nobody likes it. Does that count? Apparently not. Which is why instead of America's Got Talent, I am spending my time hosting shows at the JCC in Austin. That's pretty good. Some of you clapping for yourselves. That's a good thing. Also, after I was done with my part of the audition, the judge, one person in the room, asks me this question. She says, you have an accent. Does that make it hard for you to do comedy in America? And I said, well, first of all, over 1 billion people in this world think you have an accent. I still remember my first day in America. 10 minutes into my very first conversation, I heard this. Oh, you're from India? But your English is pretty good. I was like, you obviously don't realize that India has the world's largest English-speaking population. Because look, there's about 1.2 billion Indians. Let's say half of them don't speak English. That's about 600 million Indians that speak English. The entire population of America is about 300 million. Let's say half of them don't speak English. So actually, you aren't doing too bad yourself. But the American English is confusing, right? Some of the things Americans say, confusing, especially for people like me. Like I remember my early days in America, I was a very quiet, shy, non-confrontational, typical third world immigrant in a first world country. And in those early days, at one particular time, I was in a very desperate situation. Because I was really backed up. I really had to go and I was really desperate. And in that desperate situation, I walked up to this reception counter and I asked the person, "Where are your toilets?" And the person responded with, "You mean where are our restrooms?" Now look, this is my first time in America. I have never heard the word restroom in my life. So making sense of what I had just heard, I said, "Look, this is not a tired face. I am not looking for a room to rest. Where are your toilets?" And then the person responded with, "Look, you are in America now. And in America, we call it a restroom." And back then, I was like, "Oh, okay, man, where the hell is your restroom, right?" And then he pointed me to it and I ran. But now, I want to go back. I want to go back because I have become a little more arrogant, a little more confrontational. Basically, I'm Americanized. And I want to go back to that same guy in that exact same situation, be just as desperate, just as backed up, walk up to his reception counter, ask him the exact same question, "Dude, where are your toilets?" And when he says, "You mean where are our restrooms?" Like, if you know what I mean, why don't you just give me the answer? Because this is America, and in America, we call it a restroom. And at that point, I will pull my pants down and shit on his carpet. And when he yells out, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about what I'm doing. Worry about what I'm about to do. Because I'm about to ask you for some tissue paper." And if you try to teach me what that's called in America, I'm about to paint your tablecloths brown. That's what I want to do. Yeah, go back and teach that. Thank you. 3 Indian people clapping. Okay. Yes, go do it. Because the American lingo is confusing, right? Some of the things we heard here, like here, this happened not too long ago. I was in a minor car accident, taken to the hospital for a precautionary checkup. Everything okay. I was walking out. The nurse stops me and says, "Do you need an excuse for work?" I'm like, "Excuse? Why would I need an excuse? I was in a car accident. I have a good reason." And then she explains, "Oh no, I meant, do you need a written note explaining what happened?" I'm like, if you had to explain what you just said, why don't you just say what you just said first? You know what I mean? Like, why do you call it an excuse? Call it a written note. That's what it is. Stop all the confusion. Secondly, I don't make excuses in my life and I don't want any from you either. Alright? Let's stop this confusion. Let's make it simple. More recently, I went to the Montessori to pick up my daughter. And as soon as I stepped in, the receptionist looks at me and goes, "Oh, your daughter had a little accident today." And I'm thinking, what kind of an accident did my daughter get into? Did she run behind somebody taking a swing and knock her teeth out? Did she get her hand stuck in the crack of a door and break her knuckles? Did she run outside the Montessori, get hit by a truck? Right, so I'm running through all these accidents in my head. The receptionist reaches over, pulls out a plastic bag, starts handing it to me. And now I'm thinking, what kind of a freak accident did my daughter get into? That you had to collect all her body parts, put it in a plastic bag. Now you're handing it to me, smiling while you're doing it. And so I took the bag and I opened it and I found my daughter's clothes inside. And they were wet. And I asked her, what exactly happened? And she goes, oh, you know, your daughter peed in her sleep. Then say that, call she peed in her sleep. Why would you call that an accident? First of all, she's 2. That is not an accident, that is normal. If you peed in your pants, that would be an accident. And if you want, I can write you an excuse for that. Thank you. Very confusing, everybody. So, you know, I was born in the city of Bombay, or Mumbai, if you are politically annoying. And I was raised Jewish, which I didn't realize made me a rare species in America. So if anybody here wants a picture with me tonight, $5. But you know, as somebody raised Jewish in India, I get different questions in different parts of the world. Like back in India, anytime I told people I'm a Jew, I usually got this. Jew? Dude, we know just 2 Jews, the good Jew and the Panju. Which one are you? See, all the Indians are laughing, the non-Indians are wondering what I just said. Let me explain. Good Jews are the Gujaratis, the Indian community that has taken care of the hotels and the motels in America, right? That's what they're associated with. A few hotel owners over here. There we go. Panjus, the Punjabis, own all the gas stations and the 7-Elevens. Right? And look, together, those 2 communities have taken care of today's 3 basic human needs. Food, shelter, and gas. Because we all know clothing is no more a basic human need. Especially if any of you has ever been to a parade in San Francisco. Which is where I'm from. And if you have not, good for you. You haven't been scarred for life. So funny parade. But here in America, when I tell people I'm a Jew, I get different questions. You know, questions like, really? Are you really Jewish? It's like, what are they expecting me to say? Oh no, you got me. You are so good at recognizing people just by looking at them. You must be Columbus. The other question I hear, were you born Jewish? No. I was born a baboon. And as I evolved, I realized I am better than everyone else. Followed by the next logical question, are both your parents Jewish? No. My father is a Christian and my mother is a Muslim, and they hated each other so much, they raised me Jewish. I appreciate you guys clapping and getting that joke. Because one time I told that joke, and at the end of the show, there was this girl who walks up to me and she actually says this. She says, oh, it must have been so hard. Growing up with a Christian father and a Muslim mother. Did you miss the part I'm a comedian? No sarcasm? Okay. Hey, how many of you live in Austin? Clap if you live in Austin. Almost everybody. How many of you are from outside Austin? Clap if you're from outside Austin. Yeah? Okay. Oh, wow. Quite a few. That's pretty cool. Now, I flew into Austin today morning, and one of the first things I noticed while I was walking through the airport, at the stores, there were t-shirts which said, "Keep Austin weird." You guys know of this? Keep Austin weird? Okay, I wasn't aware of this because I personally believe Texas is weird. I'll give you an example why I say that, okay? And when I came to America, I was living in California, in San Francisco, and I used to visit a lot of my friends around the whole country. Every time I spoke to my friends in Texas, this was the conversation. I speak to my friends in Houston, they would always say, "Hey, come to Houston, we'll take you to Austin." Same thing with my friends in Dallas. "Hey, come to Dallas, we'll take you to Austin." No, so the first time I visited Texas, I visited my friend in Austin. He took me to San Antonio. This is a weird state, man. Everybody seems to run away from their home. I don't know how to get it. Why can't I just see Austin? This is good to be back. I'm back a second time. That's good. I mentioned I'm originally from Bombay. Now, I also know we have a lot of people here from Bombay. Clap if you're from Bombay. Okay. And a whistle. All right. In the back. We got a few. Now, you guys know this. Growing up, we always heard people say this. They would always say, "Bombay, just like New York." Right? That's what they compare Bombay to. Bombay, just like New York. So I went to New York. Not really. Because see, New York is a city that never sleeps. Bombay is a city that never sleeps and never lets you sleep. Right? If New York is 24/7, Bombay is 48/14. And that's a mathematics joke that never works in the clubs. Right? Tell that joke in the clubs, they're like, "Whoa, hang on, fractions? Slow down, buddy." And I've also heard people in America always talk about how crowded New York is. Right? Everybody thinks that New York is so crowded. It's so crowded. So I looked up the numbers. Bombay, a fourth the size of New York, has twice the population. Right? I told that to one of my friends and he was like, "Wow. What's that, like 2 people per square foot?" And I was like, "No. It's more like 2 people on each of your foot." Right? When nobody's stepping on your toes, you have personal space. I am surprised MySpace is not more popular in Bombay. You know, my friend comes over, "Hey, I got MySpace." I'm like, "Good for you, buddy. That's the only space you'll ever get." Enjoy it. What I've also noticed is every place in the world is weird in its own way. Every place, right? I'll give an example. The last time I was in Bombay, we were driving and I saw a big billboard advertisement for Emirates, the Middle Eastern airline. And the advertisement reads, "Emirates, we now fly non-stop from Hong Kong to Dubai." Why is that sign in Bombay? What are the people of Bombay supposed to do? Wave at them, "Hello! Thank you for flying non-stop!" And not invading my space. It's like, it's weird. Every city, weird in its way. Any of you been to San Francisco? Anybody? Yeah, okay, a few of you have, good. Here's a little inside secret about San Francisco, in case you didn't know. I found out when I moved there. Oh, it started whistling again, and Hemant has disappeared. Let me move back. Here we go. We're going to be here. Is that better? When I moved to San Francisco, I found out that everyone in San Francisco pays extra money to get an apartment with a view. So we have apartments in the downtown where people pay extra to get a view of the Twin Peaks. And up on Twin Peaks, people pay extra to get a view of the downtown. Yeah, so basically there are people in San Francisco paying extra money, sitting in their living rooms, staring at each other. Also a weird city. I was talking about flying. Now, you know, there's this Indian thing, don't want to call it whatever. Have you heard of Vastu Shastra? People? Yes, Vastu Shastra is like the Indian Feng Shui, right? According to which, north brings money east brings success. Which is why I stopped flying Southwest Airlines. That airline is doomed. Look, I'll leave you with one more thing, and then we have some more entertainment, and I'll be coming back. I want to leave you with this. I don't know if you've seen a hypnosis show before.
Yeah.
I've had a chance to work with some hypnotists in the past. And it's very interesting for me because this is how every hypnosis show begins. And if you haven't seen a show before, and if you ever do, you'll remember this. The hypnotist will bring a few people up on stage and then explain to the entire audience that hypnosis is a very tough business. I can only hypnotize you if you really want to be hypnotized. So I am going to give you a couple of instructions. And if you don't follow them well, I'll ask you to leave. And I'm standing in the back going, what? We comedians never get to do that. I don't come up here and say things like, hey, comedy is a tough business. I can only make you laugh if you really want to laugh. So I'm going to come up here and tell you 2 or 3 jokes. And if you don't laugh, get out. That doesn't work for us comedians. But look, that's been my part of this part of the show. Thank you very much for listening and laughing. I appreciate it. I am going to switch. Oh, this is check. Hello, 1, 2. All right. Oh, we got a flatter corded mic. Yes, I'm getting on the fly instructions. Hold on, everybody. Improv night. Yes, I should have announced it before I started, right? But the kids were enjoying, so it's all right. All right, look at kids. Stand-up is over. Now you can have more fun. This is what's happening for the kids. We have a separate room designated for kids workshops and under adult supervision, learning Bollywood as well as Israeli dances. So if you guys want to learn some Bollywood dancing or some Israeli dancing, we have a separate room where you will be learning and supervised, and then you'll come back into the main hall whenever you like. Parents, if you want to go pick up your kids in the middle, you can do that. Alright? And now, Dana. Alright, anybody who wants to get the kids to the dance workshops needs to get them to Dana. She's waving on the side. Hello Dana, come on kids, let's go dancing, party night. Alright, here we go, a few kids are walking there. Okay. Now, while we do that, I also want to make an announcement. Was that? Yes. Can we get the next announcement going and then I'll fill it in. Oh, that's right. Okay, hang on a second. That's not on this agenda. I forgot that part. So then we can start with the... Alright, this is very random, everybody. How's everyone doing? Good? Okay. Let's do this. We got to fill some time. Let me make you quick, bring everybody up to speed as soon as we get the kids going and a little bit of adults settled back down in their tables. Okay, we are, surprise, surprise, ahead of time. We are early and not late. Unlike Indian shows and events, which is amazing. Yeah, alright, so now while the kids are getting their dance workshop things figured out, let me also let you know this very quickly. We had a performance by a singer by the name of Nada Valli, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. So we won't have that. We have the rest of the evening continuing as planned. Alright? And with that said, everybody doing good so far? Everybody okay? Everybody having fun? Yes? Everybody good? Alright. I was here early today and I noticed we have a lot of tables and every table has a name on it. And I don't know what the organizers were thinking, but this is my best guess of what the organizers were thinking. So I'm going to tell you what I think about every table. Because there's a lot of tables there, right? First and foremost, there is a table for Aishwarya Rai. Where's the Aishwarya Rai table? Clap if you're at the Aishwarya Rai table. All in the back? I know it's somewhere in the back. No, oh, one auntie is waving. Alright, there's the Aishwarya Rai table. That's pretty good. Now, it could mean one of two things. Aishwarya Rai, for those of you who don't know, was Miss World 94. One of the most glamorous Indian women in Bollywood. And the table for Aishwarya Rai either has the most good-looking people in this room. I'm leave it there. Okay. So the good-looking table in the back, Aishwarya Rai, everybody. Yeah, we got that one. Let's see. We did that. Then we have. Oh, we have a table for Rajnikant. Where's Rajnikant's table? On the side over there. All right, Rajnikant, a superstar from the southern Indian movies. And how do I explain Rajnikant to people who don't know Rajnikant? The best thing I can tell you is he's the Chuck Norris of India. You all know Chuck Norris, of course, Texas. Come on, Chuck Norris is like the Texas #1 guy in the world, right? What's that? So I'm wondering why there is no Chuck Norris table. Like if there's Rajnikant in Texas, is Chuck Norris having a show in Tamil Nadu right now? Is that what happening? No? Okay. We have Rajnikant there. Let's see what else do we have. Oh, of course, there's also an Adam Levine table in the back. Adam Levine. Where's Adam Levine? All the way in the back. Alright, there are two women sitting there. Adam Levine, part of Maroon 5. You guys know the singer Adam Levine, Maroon 5? Yeah, okay. Very popular singer. I don't know if you know this, but he had a photo shoot where he posed completely naked. He did. So all I can think of for the Adam Levine table, either they would be singing and entertaining at the end of the night, or they just might strip. Who knows? We'll find out. We'll find out which way they go. Keep your dollar bills ready, everybody. Yeah, we have Adam Levine over there. Okay. Let's see, as I've always encountered in every event where you have a lot of people, there's always some people who always add some drama, right? And they're never satisfied, they got to add their own little drama, and we call them the drama queens and the drama kings. And in order to honor the drama kings and the drama queens, we have people associated with drama. Natalie Portman table. Yeah, where is Natalie Portman? Edina Menzel, Shah Rukh Khan table in the back. Yeah, okay, all the drama people in the back, so watch out. They will spoil the fun for everybody. No, that joke didn't work. Okay, which is why it's not a part of my regular act. Thank you for the feedback. I will do that one again. Now, you know, another thing we notice that pop culture is more popular. That's why it's called pop culture, right? Everybody loves movies more than math, science fiction more than actual science. Which is why we have noticed that we have Steven Spielberg table in the front and Albert Einstein's in the back. Like, put you in your place, Albert. Stay in the back of the room. Okay, that went not too bad, not too bad. I'll leave in one last thing, which is this. Now we have dinner, right? We got some good food, and table by table, everybody will be getting their food, except there's some little tricks into it. Okay, first, the Mahatma Gandhi table. You don't get any food. You just starve like him. And if you're really angry about it, what are you going to do? Sit and protest. Please do that. That's why we have chairs around the table. Okay? That's the only table that didn't have a snack plate. I don't know if you guys noticed that. That was our planning for the Mahatma Gandhi table. Right? There's a Sunita Williams table. Sunita Williams, the female astronaut who spent more time in outer space than in orbit, right? For the Sunita Williams tables, your dinner is outside the JCC. You gotta go find the outside space, you'll find some dinner falling around, you can go pick it from there. And then, of course, we have the Betty Friedman table. Where's the Betty Friedman table? All the way in the back. Betty Friedman, a very staunch feminist and a very staunch feminist activist, to which I think, stereotypically speaking, the only table in this room who won't laugh at a single joke. And then 3 women laughed. Okay, so that joke didn't work either. Thank you very much for that feedback as well, people. I appreciate that. I am making notes. Don't make feminist jokes in Austin. People don't like that. You know, I talk to people sometimes during the shows, And this is a very different event. It's not the usual club events, but you know, in comedy clubs, people hate to sit in the first row. Now some of you are stuck in the first table. By choice or not by choice, I don't know, but you guys are here. I personally always appreciate people sitting in the front. Right, the first row especially. I always like that. Because I myself love to do that, to sit on the first row, especially on roller coasters. Right? Roller coasters, front row, that's what we got to do. And some of our friends will say things like, why? Why would you want to sit in the front? If something goes wrong, you will be the first one to die. And that's the whole point. If something goes wrong, I would rather die first than watch your head split open as the last thing before I die. Why would I want to see that crappy sight? I also have a day job. I work in software because it's the law. Right? I don't know what the rest of you have heard. When you pass through immigration at the airports, they will ask you for your passports. When I walk through American immigration, they ask me for my laptop configuration. What? But I do have a day job. I actually started a new job recently, and before I started the new job, I was looking for a new job. While I was looking for a new job, I was reading a lot of stuff online. One of the most common things online is people like to write advice columns. And the most common advice they like to give is how to face interviews. And the most common question for an interview, what's your biggest weakness? And they all have the same answer. They're like, oh, spin it into something positive. Say things like, I'm a perfectionist. I stay the extra hour. I go the extra mile. Which is, I think, the worst answer ever. It's like, what does that even mean? Why do you go the extra mile? You like to waste gas? Is that why you go the extra mile? How do you go the extra mile? You show up at the office and are like, oh, I'm here at office, but I like to go the extra mile, so I'm going to go drive around the block a little bit and then come back late. Which means you're late to work, probably completely inefficient, which is why you have to stay the extra hour because you don't get anything done on time, wasting even more resources. The only thing you're being perfect is a perfect idiot. That's what you're being. The worst answer ever. I think I have a better answer for that question. Although nobody has yet asked me that question. Like, I have faced a lot of interviews in this country. Not always for a job, but I have faced a lot of interviews. Nobody has asked me that question. I hope they do. The next time somebody asks me, what's your biggest weakness? I will say, how much time do you have? Because if you don't have a lot of time, I'll put you on the phone with my mom. And if you do have a lot of time, I'll put you on the phone with my wife. So you can pick and choose. I am still not answering that question. Speaking about my wife, first of all, I know my ring's missing. People like to point that out. Don't, where's your ring? And I lost it. Unfortunately, I know. Hey, better the ring than the wife, you know what I mean? I did buy a second ring. Unfortunately, I lost that too. And look, people, I am Indian and Jewish. There is no way I'm buying a third ring. That's pretty much how it stays. Okay. And it's also a mixed marriage. My wife and I have a mixed marriage. My wife is Hindu, I'm Jewish. I thought I should name my firstborn Mahatma Moses. .com, made a website. That'd be a weird kid, right? Mahatma Moses. .com works. I still remember the day when we found out that my wife was pregnant. We are having a kid. We were at the hospital. The doctor told us the baby is due January 13th. Immediately I turned to my wife and I said, hey, if our baby is born a little early, it could celebrate its birthday and the new year together. And my wife said, and if our baby is born a little earlier, we will get a tax break for the entire year. So I said, that just goes to prove there's a little Jew in you now. I win. that happened throughout the pregnancy. I remember we were asked this one question by every person we met. They always had this question. Do you know what's the sex of the baby? Have you found out the sex of the baby? What's the sex of the baby? And I'm like, people, it's an Indian baby. It won't have any sex till it's married. But if you want to know the gender, it's a girl. Which means it's definitely not having a... Okay, that's a part of the joke, everybody. Alright, look, I've been filling in time, but we are on time, so we're going to do our next activity. And who do I invite for that? You? No? Who? Okay, we're going to get into the fundraiser. Yes? It is you and Shruti. Alright. Oh, here we go. We got something more. Lost and found. Alright. We have a lost and found. And if this belongs to you, you will find it on eBay in 2 minutes. If the flashlight, it's a flashlight for a camera. If it belongs to you, come and claim it in the back room. Okay, here we go. Yes. Kevin Brathmeyer for the fundraising. All right, for the first part of the fundraising, we are going to invite up Kevin Brathmeyer. Is Kevin here? Where's Kevin? There's Kevin. Yeah, all right. You tired folks. You're going to keep clapping till he gets on stage. Come on, Kevin Brathmeyer, everybody. Kevin. Thank you for the keyboard.
Thank you. I promise not to tell any jokes. My name is Kevin Brackmeyer, and I'm the superintendent of schools in Manor Independent School District. And I'm just here really to thank you all for being here tonight, and to thank our sponsors, the Hindu Charities for America and the Jewish Federation of America. We've been doing this for about 3 years now, and last year, I believe, we were able to provide school supplies for 800 students in Manor ISD. And folks, that's really awesome, because what it's about, really, what we're trying to do here tonight and what we're trying to get done is to eliminate barriers. In Manor ISD, we're about 78 to 80% low socioeconomic, and for some families, it's difficult to try to make a decision about whether or not to buy school supplies or put food on the table. We have many single-parent families, moms who work 2 or 3 jobs, situations where there's no father at home, and on and on. I could tell lots of stories. We'd be here all night, but it is a difference maker, and it means a lot to the students in the district, just to be able to get school supplies so that they don't have to worry about that one thing. And so we can't thank you all enough, and both organizations, for your hard work and your dedication here. And the Hindu Charities of America also has been instrumental in providing scholarships for our students, so taking it to a whole different level. So we just appreciate all the partnerships here today, and that we've been able to put together, and just making a difference in the lives of so many children. And hopefully this next summer, at the end of the summer, we'll be able to provide even more school supplies for more than 800 students. So we're hoping that happens. And again, thank you so very much. I think at this time, I'm supposed to introduce Jennifer Greenberg of the JCC and Shruti Anand with the Hindu Charities of America.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi. I hope you're all having a great time. We've had some great performers tonight, and we're really excited to have Samson here. This is, as Kevin said, the 3rd year of this event, and after the first year, we were sitting around, and Harish had found this YouTube video of this Indian Jewish comedian, and he was showing us, and we're like, wouldn't it be so cool if we could have an Indian Jewish comedian at our Bollywood Meets Borscht Bell event? And here he is, which just to show that if you dream of something, you can make it happen. And that's why we're here, because we want to support kids who have dreams, and kids from our communities who have dreams that they may not be able to realize on their own. So how many of you have school-age kids? I do. Raise your hand. Keep your hands up. If you have had school-age kids who've grown up and now are in college or out of college, put your hands up. Keep your hands up if you have school-age kids. And And if you've ever been a kid who went to school, then put your hands up. So I think we've covered everyone in the room. And I have 2 kids. As I said, I have my son Arjun is 12 and my son Amrita is 4, and they're Hindus. So that's another reason why this, they're Indian Jews also. So it's especially personal to me to bring these 2 communities together. And I think it was a couple weeks ago, I got an email from the PTA at my son's school, and it said it's time to order your school supplies. So it was really easy. There was a link for me. I clicked on the link, it took me to some website, I entered the school code, put in my MasterCard number, and $24.95 later, I'm done. I've checked that box. I know that when my son goes for back to school in August, his package of school supplies will be waiting for him. I don't have to worry, he doesn't have to worry, he's just excited to go back to school and see his friends, and he knows that he'll have the pencils and the pens and the binders and the paper that he needs to do his work. And I'm really lucky that I don't have to worry about that. That I don't have to make a choice between, do I go and make this, buy these school supplies now, or do I put gas in my car so I can get to work? I don't have to worry about, do I buy the school supplies now, or do I go to H-E-B and get my groceries for the week? Do I buy the school supplies now, or do I go to Walgreens to get my kids' asthma medicine or my diabetes medicine? I don't have to make those choices every day. And for some people, for a lot of people in our communities, they do have to make those choices. So when they get the notification from their school in May, they may not be able to have the luxury to click the link and order their school supplies for their kids that is, for school that's going to start in August.
Most of the choices that we make are pretty simple. I don't know, I just booked my vacation and I was trying to make a choice of, whether I should go for 4 days or 5 days. And I'm sure most of you can relate with that. But let's make the choices for those who live in our community and who don't have the privilege to make choices like those easy. What they have to make is whether I have my next meal or go ahead and buy school supplies. For every $20 you donate here today, Hindu Charities and JCC actually put together a backpack full of school supplies that a child will be helped for an entire year, just $20. At this point, thanks to all you guys who've purchased tickets here, to the sponsors, to the donations so far, we have raised $14,500. Thank you, and that helps us support 725 children. 725 children, which is 275 children short of our 1,000 children goal. 1,000 children who live in our community and who do not have the luxury to make that easy choice of buying school supplies. So the question here is, how many children can you support today? Every $20 is just one child, and one child for the entire year of school supplies. I know the donation cards that are on your table, take a look at those. We have obviously followed a custom there of the Hindu way of donating in one way, and we're going to talk about the Jewish.
So both the Indian and the Jewish communities have traditions in giving, and in the Jewish tradition, people often give in multiples of chai, which is 18, which Samson talked about, spelled chai. So you can give in multiples of chai or chai, which is multiples of 18, and in the Indian tradition of giving, we often add $1 to whatever, so instead of giving $50, you give $51, and my understanding of that is that it's just, you're not holding back. So I want to give $50, I'm going to give $1 extra because I'm not holding back, I'm giving just a little bit more than what I can, stretching just a little bit. I also heard something, I went to a TED Talk, TED conference last Thursday, and one of the speakers said, whatever you want in life, give it away. And when you think about what school supplies are, and what you're giving away when you're giving money tonight, you're giving love, you're giving support, you're giving possibility, you're giving hope to kids. And if you want any of those things in your life, and if you give it away, it will all come back to you. And I think that's something that both of these cultures, the Jewish and the Indian, Hindu cultures, sort of stand behind. So please be generous. And we have, speaking of giving it away, we have an amazing meal ahead of us tonight, which was all donated by local restaurants. So please take a look at your program and look at the list of sponsors for the food and the beverages tonight. We have baked goods that were baked by volunteers. Everything that you're experiencing tonight has been given away. So the more that you can give back, the better, and the more kids that we can support in our community.
And just a few logistical things. On the donation card, there, like I said, there is amounts, and then there's also other sections. So feel free, whatever your heart desires is the amount that goes there. Just remember that for supporting a child for a year-round supply of school supplies, it just takes $20. And we are, like I said, still at 275 kids short of our goal here, which is about $5,500. So just keep that in mind and open your heart to this. We do have runners on either sides, and they will be willing to take your donation cards. You can just hold it up and they'll reach your table right away. So thank you. Thank you very much for being generous. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you very much for being a part of this beautiful movement.
Once your pledge card is filled out, if you raise your hand, the runners will come to your table. And we have credit card swipers also if you prefer to do a credit card donation. Thank you.